Hi, this is Renee Stanley from Movie Review Relay, and today we got a big show because it's going to be very hot this weekend and you need to stay out of the heat. So go to the movies, find your nice air-conditioned theater and just camp out, okay? All right, here we go. Hi, this is Renee Stanley from Movie Review Relay, and today we're talking about summer 2024, and I have to tell you that everybody's looking forward to Deadpool. That's the thing, Deadpool versus Wolverine, that everybody is booking tickets for, even now, and it's not due out until July 26th. But I'll tell you what, you got stuff you can see in the movies until then, all right? Next week, we have A Quiet Place 3, okay, the little scary movie that John Krasinski's been so instrumental in bringing and making a franchise, actually. You also have Horizon, which is the Kevin Costner Western. If you're into Westerns, you can see that. If you've seen Inside Out, which is an animated Pixar picture, you will love the family-oriented entertainment that it provides. It has wonderful graphics, of course, it's Pixar. You got these wonderful characters. You got these little guys who are supposed to be emotions, and they have a moral compass. So it's good for your children to see, not just aesthetically, but yeah, it teaches them little moral lessons. A lot of parents were there, a lot of children were there, and they certainly enjoyed it. Did you see Garfield? Garfield's humor is just more of a sarcasm, whereas Inside Out, yeah, it's more morally and ethnic based. Doing the right thing, feeling the right thing, knowing how to handle your emotions, that's what that Inside Out franchise is all about. Now, if you want to go scary, remember Russell Crowe is in the movies with The Exorcism. Russell Crowe plays a troubled actor who appears to be merging reality with acting. Is this demonic thing real? He has a daughter. The daughter comes in and she tries to help him figure it out. So this is going to be an interesting picture if you like that type of thing, if you're into demons and that sort of thing. If you want to hear music, a beautiful voice, a legend in her time, Celine Dion has a wonderful documentary out. She talks about her life. You hear her beautiful songs, her singing. If you find her interesting, if you like her music, then this is for you. This is something you'll enjoy. You can take the family to if you guys are music fans. Now there's a movie called Thelma. It's about a 93-year-old grandmother who gets scammed. You ever get a phone call, somebody you don't know, and they're saying, oh, your grandson is in trouble. Send me $5,000 through the mail. All right, that does happen though. And she's telling you this story. And this is an interesting story if you feel as if you're an elderly person or you know an elderly person who might fall into the situation. If you know an elderly person who might have fallen into the situation, this is going to be perfect film for you to take them to see. So they can see how these guys are so slick, how they're sneaky, very shady situation, but it happens every day. Thelma. Here's a movie called Ghostlight that explores that whole lore of Romeo and Juliet. A construction worker decides that, you know what, I'm going to be in this play. I'm going to do this acting gig. And now he sees how the story of Romeo and Juliet can actually be applied to his own life. Yeah, it's romantic. It's got the tragedy, but it's brought up to today's events in today's society. I think you might like it if you're romantic. The Bikers. Now, let me just say this. Some people say that this is going to be the hot ticket this week. All right, so if you like motorcycle riding, if you understand the hard life, they got to be cool. They got to threaten people, have people almost in fear of them. Okay, that's the way it is. The Bikers is all about that. Bikers is all about that life. All right, Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, the big stars in the movie, are the tough guys. Yeah. They are the Jimmy Dean of this generation. Who's Jimmy Dean? Don't do it. Look it up. All right. So the story follows the Midwestern club of bikers called the Vandals. And at first they start off, very innocent like any other club, but then they become much more cynical. And this transition you'll see in the movie, and I think you might like it if you're not faint of heart, because there is some violence and there's some cruelty involved. So see if you have a stomach for it. Now, if you really want to get dark, you really like this violence, horror type pictures, then you want to see in a violent nature. Yeah, it's all about slashers, killers. He's not a slasher because he uses an axe. All right, so here's the point. It's in the perspective of the killer. So if you can imagine yourself with the axe and you're getting ready to kill people and murder them in all kind of awful ways, this is for you. I know. Fresh Kills is set in the 1980s, Staten Island, New York. And it's about a young girl. You're in her eyes now. This is her perspective. And she realizes her father is a mafia kingpin. It's what she endures, what she sees, what she feels. It's an interesting study. You might want to see that if you're interested in that type of lifestyle. Chandu Champions talks about a young man who gets the first gold medal, all right, in India. All right, this is the first guy to do this. So it's about what he had to overcome, how life was for him in India. You might find it interesting if you like global and international studies, because it's not just a study about this young man getting the first gold medal. It's also a study of the environment at that time that he lived through and the obstacles that he had to overcome to get his gold medal. Tuesday. Now, I'm telling you now, some people are raving about this picture. It stars Julia Louis-Dreyfus. So this is a very popular actress, the same one from Seinfeld that we all know and love from television reruns. You'll enjoy her because she has her own personality. Some people say she plays the same character all the time. But they say that a lot about actresses and actors who are popular and that play similar roles. Tuesday is the child's name who's dying of cancer. Julia is the mother. The movie shows how she tries to cope with her daughter's terminal illness. Do you guys remember Meet Joe Black or several remakes over 100 years of Death Takes a Holiday? It's similar to that. But instead of having a man in the spirit of death, it's a bird. So that's very different. So if you want to see something different, but with that same premise, Death Takes a Holiday, you know, when people stop dying and the whole thing, that's not a unusual scenario because we've seen it in several films. So in Meet Joe Black, it was Brad Pitt, right? If you can tolerate the creativity that they're trying to convey in this movie, then you can see this movie. Yeah, that would be fine. I felt it would have been nice if you would let death be another person. We have so many fine actors. You want it to be somebody older, use George Clooney or even Tom Hardy could have played that part. But it's fine. I don't tell writers how to write their movies. But yeah, the bird is death. And she's negotiating, both of them really are negotiating with death to try to have a little bit more time together. And you'll see as the picture goes forward how she resolves the whole thing. I'll let you see that. I won't spoil that for you. Even though you know that's what I love to do. I will say, when you have a movie like this where there's only basically her, Julia, and the young woman who's playing the daughter are the only two people in the picture. There's like a maid, not a maid, I'm sorry. There's like a health assistant that's also in it. But those two characters, I need to know more about you to care about you. And I think that there's a lot of what people call pacing issues, which is, it's directed and you hear this long silence. And the silence is supposed to mean something. I get it. I've seen enough films. However, I did not care enough about the little girl. And I'm saying little girl. I did not care about the victim and the mother, whether she died or not. However, I'm going to say this to you. Julia does a wonderful job in grieving her daughter because she knows there's no hope. She knows her daughter's going to be gone soon. Beautiful job, Julia. All right. The picture, you might say, again, needed more character development. The little girl was, I keep saying little girl, the young woman was so bland, little bit of personality here and there, but not enough for us to bond with her throughout the movie, all right? So Treasure is a picture that I saw that I really enjoyed. It's about the Holocaust, And I'll say why. There are two New Yorkers, a father and his daughter. And I'm very partial to the relationship between a father and daughter. I think it's so special. So is a mother and daughter, but the father, he allows the girl to determine what her love is going to look like. Should it be a man? I feel that way. All right, so the father and the daughter travel all the way to Poland, to Warsaw, to the museum where the Holocaust took place, Auschwitz. And along the way, though, they see these revelations, where the person that's living there now, that you stole the house from my grandfather or whatever it is, back in the 40s. And the picture takes place in the 90s. So I guess they're going back 50 years to when the father was a little boy and all this stuff was taken from him. He was kicked out of his home by the Nazis and stuff. And it just broke my heart to see how much they missed. Because a lot of people who are separated from their families, whether it be black people, Mexicans, it doesn't matter. When you're separated from your family, there's a gap, a void that's never fulfilled. And when they've died and gone on, it can never be fulfilled now. You just have to reconcile yourself that they're gone and try to live with that. It's very difficult. Unless you've been through it, you don't know. Or you've been with someone who's close to you, who's lost someone in such an evil and vile way. All right? So Treasure was wonderful. My only issue with Treasure, and that was a good movie. My only issue was the treasure was there all the time. Why would you wait 50 years to go and retrieve it? And you'll be surprised what the treasure is. I didn't spoil anything. No, I didn't. You'll see what the treasure is. But Treasure is a wonderful film. It's heartfelt. Yeah, it almost brought me to tears because as a African American, there are some lost issues because our people were slaughtered. We'll never know about it. We're separated. We'll never know about it. So Treasure is a very good film. If you have a heart and you want to see something emotional that makes you feel good though at the end, this is the film to see. Okay? Some people made fun of Lena Durham because she gained weight, and somebody even had the nerve to talk about her nude. Oh, she's nude. She showed herself in the bathtub. That's so mean. Because if she was Kim Kardashian or who else do you guys love so much? I don't know, Miley Cyrus, who's thin. Yeah, nobody would have said anything, but whenever a heavier person shows herself, it's disgusting. It's the same breasts. Yeah, same breasts. But y'all, because she's heavier, she's disgusting. All right, really? Okay, that's mean, but everybody has to live with themselves, okay? But I think Treasure is a wonderful movie. That's why I'm talking about it. All right, so let's move along. You guys saw Badboys, and I did a video on Badboys. Of course, it's great entertainment. It has some R words in it, some adult language. So if the kids are really young, you can't. I don't know if you wouldn't bring them to that, do you? I don't know. All right, you decide. Rated R. But it was a good movie. I've said that before. I loved the movie. Do I think it's the best one out of the 4? I talked about that in the last one. Not really, but it's good enough to be number 1. Did you see how much money they raked in last week? What? Okay, so you'll enjoy Badboys. If you're in the mood for action, that one is for you. That one, The Bikers, if you like an R-rated action movie, those are for you. The Fall Guy is still in theaters. I did a video on that. That's the one with Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt. It was a little bland, but if, like I said, it should have had some love scenes to let me know that they really were in love. There was a couple little kissing scenes, but no, we need to go deeper than that. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is still in theaters, as well as Futurosa, okay, which they say underperformed. I felt it was good enough for action, but you had to be a fan of the franchise Mad Max. If it's still in theaters, that's the animated picture. We talked about If with Ryan Reynolds. Very nice family-oriented picture, okay? Very nice family-oriented picture. So you might want to see if that's still in theaters. The Watchers. That was a picture with M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. I thought it was fine. But again, it could be, she's young and it's her first picture. That's what I said about that. I don't like to, I'm a movie review. I'm not a movie critic. So I'll say a couple of things to give you a hint, but I'm not going to just, I've told you this before, I don't call people's babies ugly. When you create a film, a piece of work, it's your baby. Don't call anyone's baby ugly. It's rude, I think. You know, you can say it without just tearing it apart. There's a movie called Latency. Hannah, she is a professional gamer. And at one point, she doesn't know if it's reality or it's the game that's taking over her mind. So if you're a gamer or you know a gamer, they might be interested in something like this. Think about it. Now there's a special events movie. It's a religious movie. It's called Jesus Thirsts. Yeah, that's the name of the movie. Jesus Thirsts is about the miracle of the Eucharist. People understand that they need a closer connection with God. So this is a religious film, of course. If you're Catholic or a Christian, you might be interested in this film. They're really deep into this theory, and they're telling that less and less people are going to church, believing in God. And how do you get that connection back? Yeah, some people might be very interested in this. So think about that. If you're a religious person, you have concerns about faith, you might want to look into this film, The Eucharist. The movie is called Jesus Thirst, The Miracle of the Eucharist. And Firebrand is still in theaters. Do you guys remember the story of Henry VIII and Catherine Parr? Catherine struggled to survive the last few months of her life. She knew her death was impending, all right, because of the time and the era she was living in. And if you know history or study any European history, this won't be a surprise to you, but it's an interesting take on the events of that time. So the movie focuses on the teachings of the church at that time and the preaching of Anne Askew. All right, and if you don't want to go out and see a nice, if you don't want to go to movies, you just want to stay home, you got the air conditioning running pretty good, you got the kids and everybody's around you, then you might want to stay home and binge House of the Dragon. Yes, it is the prequel to Game of Thrones. It starts about 200 years prior to the Game of Thrones movie that's become so popular over the last decade. If you're a Game of Thrones fan and you're home, you have HBO Max, this is for you. You can binge it, you can stream it, and if dragons are your thing, baby, you need to go for it, right? Eddie Murphy was on Jimmy Fallon. He's promoting Beverly Cop 4, I believe it is. And he's so entertaining. God bless him. He's an American treasure. I've said this before. I'm not going to go into Eddie Murphy, that would take a long time, 40-year career. Beverly Hills Cop 4 is streaming on Netflix, and he says his daughter's in there arresting him or something, and he says his son is also his son-in-law or his son. All right, so he has some family in this picture. Is it as funny as the other three? You have to tell me. Starts July the 3rd. Also in October, Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, they're going to be in Joker too. I don't speak French that well, so let's see if I can do the name. All right, so here we go. Folie à deux. It's Joaquin Phoenix, who's back as a Joker. Remember the first one he was in? He was so marvelous. And then Lady Gaga is playing his girlfriend, Harley Quinn. All right? So this is going to be interesting. And do you guys remember Zazie Beetz? Because she's coming back as a neighbor who kind of knew he was weird to begin with. So this is going to be interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too. All right? So you guys stay cool. I understand there's going to be a big heat wave across the country. I'm going to think of you and you think of me. Okay? And you go ahead and get you some ice water. Stay hydrated. Stay in a cool place. If it's not cool at your house, go to the movies. All right? So do what you think is best. All right, sweethearts? Until we meet again, it's Renee Stanley for Movie Review Relay. God bless.